Welcome to the Navigating Magic podcast, where we explore the interplay between intuition, ethereal consciousness, and everything in between. I teach beings how to generate change through their attention to energies, truths, and processes that are invisible to others. Thank you so much for being here for the next episode of the Navigating Magic podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with us, Tiziano Sguerso, who is a Family Constellations Facilitator. Welcome, Tizi. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Natasha, for having me. It's a pleasure to have a nice chat with you.
Of course. I met you earlier in the year through Medicine Mammy and is it Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan and Sarah.
Yes. Yeah. It was a great, I guess, surprise for me to see Family Constellations through like a TCM course that I was a part of. And the concept of family constellations was completely new to me. But the moment you spoke, I was absolutely mesmerized by the concept of what you teach and your facilitations. So I've been dying to know, how did you get into this? Because I know that you didn't exactly have a straight start to life.
Not at all. Not at all. So, look, I've been, as you know, because now we know each other since a while, but always, I'm always open to speak to everybody about my past. I had a pretty rough upbringing, extremely rough, and I started to fight as a professional kickboxer to actually save myself out of, criminality and jail and stuff like this. And eventually my life, Natasha, has always been up and down. So up and down, like big stuff, fighting, getting professional, doing big stuff, depression again, criminality, this and that, find the right job, becoming a personal trainer of famous people in Sydney, but then again, open a company and going in debt of 120,000 euros. So I had a lot of upside down. And in 2015, 2016, just one of my friends randomly says, Tizi, you had a pretty extraordinary life. That tells me that, I've discovered this modality. It's called Family Constellation. Its developer is Bert Hellinger, German psychotherapist. You might carry stuff from your system of belonging. And as soon as he told me that, something clicked in me, Natasha, like, oh, that makes sense. I had literally every experience in my upbringing. I went to jail, I've been stabbed, fight, everything that, like really extreme stuff. So I went to this first family constellation, and that changed my life forever. And as soon as I got in, I was mesmerized as well by the concept, by the modality, by the experience itself. And I decided to dive into that. So I completely fall in love at the first sight. And after a couple of years, I was still doing personal training. Luckily, I was making good money in that, so I could also pay my study and pay my other stuff by the side. I studied family constellation, many facilitator, many books, everything that I could dive into it. And by the end of 2018, I started to give myself it out. So I started to do private one-on-one group, and eventually, like when my business really boomed, it was 2020. 2020 during COVID, I feel I really took it over, like next level. And eventually now I do all over Australia, worldwide, and that's my passion, my life purpose.
Amazing. It's amazing how you were already setting the groundwork prior to COVID, and you're very fortunate you had established yourself enough to then really boom with everyone being at home, and then I guess healing becoming a topic on everyone's tongue at the start of the pandemic.
That's right. I feel, I have observed over the years, Natasha, that human, they don't have much free will, but in a good way. there is something that works behind us or beyond us, that is what we call the great spirit or destiny or whatever you like. So let's say the life brought me into this path, you know, and then eventually kicked in when really was for me the need to be of service.
Yeah. And I guess for many people, it becomes very obvious in our own lives when we're fighting this resistance.
Yeah, yeah, big time.
It shows up through other people's scenarios, circumstances.
Yes, yes, big time. You know, I went pretty much through an extreme change, Natasha, and that's what people like, they generally don't embrace. They remain attached to the past, what I was, because I was actually good. I was making good money. I was a personal trainer of people that they famous, rich. They brought me on TV. So everything was going well. But something within me was leading me to the new. So if I would have been attached to the whole, you know, I have a safe life and that's okay, perhaps I wouldn't been complete. I was just making money, I was okay, but not completing my purpose in my fulfillment.
Cool.
And then, you know, I pretty much took what you always consider the main word in every kind of change, courage. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Amazing. It's so inspiring to see people like you following their path and fulfilling their purpose, because there's such a dire need in our world today
Yeah,
to walk that path.
I totally agree with you. You know, life moves forward. Everything goes forward. The great spirit, love, God, call it as you like, moves forward. It's us that we don't trust it, and we remain attached to the density, to the matter, to what we can see and touch. And but you know, when you allow this great spirit to work through you and you follow it, then life really shine.
Of course. So you were a personal trainer to the stars, if I can call
Yeah,
you that.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. It's
you
pretty
then
true.
it's amazing to, I guess, like you said, to let go of that safety, because so many of us really hold on to safety because we think it's what we need, and we think it's the safety that's going to help propel us.
Yeah, it is an emotion based on fear. You know what I mean? Like I remain attached to what I know because I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, so I don't know what comes forward. You know, and become become a personal trainer of rich and famous was actually my dream as a teenager. When
Yeah.
I was fighting, I was like, one day I'm gonna be a personal trainer of rich and famous, gonna get paid. Even I actually put out less than what I used to make then. And yeah, so I that was my dream. I fulfilled my dream, and then the next dream I put it out as soon as as soon as I encountered constellation, Natasha. I said, I'm gonna make a worldwide impact with that. My surname is gonna go all around the world, and that's where it's going, because that's what the first call that I had.
That intention is so powerful, and your words vibrate so much essence and so much truth.
Yeah,
And you're speaking from so much experience, because I've been to a couple of your sessions now, and each time I walk away and I'm still processing, believe it or not. Was it 2-3 weekends ago? I'm like just
right.
blown away, and moments and memories come to me. And it's because, like you said, this great spirit is now pushing us forwards, that once you get a taste, you can't go back to the old.
That's right. You know, that's right. My good friend Ryan always said, ignorance is bliss, in the way that when you are in a state that you don't know, you are okay with what you don't know. But once you know, you cannot go back to what you don't know. Exactly. So there he is.
So true.
Yeah.
Now, I guess for you, you didn't know about family constellations, and then you went for a session for yourself,
For
and
myself. Yeah.
then that in itself would have been so powerful in transforming the world
It,
and life that you knew.
it was life changing, Natasha. For me, it was about money. I had a big issue with money, and I was in debt with my old company. And I just open out a word, you know, like I open out another understanding. This person that I went to, then she became actually she come to my event now. She came to few of my event with friends. she didn't express the way that I do, because I put a lot of theory and understanding around, because I like everybody to understand what we're doing. I don't want only spiritual people to be in, but I also want Bill from the office that doesn't know nothing about spirituality. So I started to understand why that happened. I started to study why that happened, what had happened in that chamber, in that room. That day I released what we call a loyalty to my dead uncle, who died when he was 15. And the phrase that I was saying inside myself, I sabotage my life because you died out of a car accident. I released so much tears, so much anger, so much everything that day. And I walk out that room like, I am a new person. I'm a new person. Yeah.
It's amazing how you were living this unconsciously. But
Yeah, of course.
through the family constellations, it brings the unconscious to the conscious. And once you know, that's it now. You're an unstoppable force.
Yeah, look, I look family constellation in this way. If you want to put it simple and everybody to understand, look at yourself like a computer program, like Windows, Apple, whatever you like. You see the images, the colors, and you can click, you can process, you can do. But on the back end, there is a code, and that code is what we call morphogenetic field. It's a field of memory that's surrounding the earth, but not surrounding. The earth is part of it. So we're living in a collection of memory. And this is what Rupert Sheldrake acknowledged us. So it doesn't matter if a group of monkey from Australia, they discover something, because the same group of monkey in Norway, even if they don't have contact with one another, they will discover the same things, perhaps at the same time or slightly delayed. Why? Because there is an intelligence that connects us all. So the memory of my memory of my uncle is within the field, this energetic field. So if someone represents my uncle, perceive thoughts, experience of on and on emotions of what my uncle perceived at the time of his death. So I'm able to see what is actually running through my body, in my bones, in my cell, in my tissue, like everything that I'm unconscious of. It's a program that I run through. It's my code of existence.
Yeah.
So through constellation, what we are able to do through phrases and movement, we are able to change that code of existence to live a more harmonious life.
Mm. And you cannot help, once you experience a family constellation, to resonate with the truth and resonate with where the path that you're supposed to be on. And you can see the stark difference between where you are at and where you need to be.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Perhaps you are in a path, what we call a child love, like I sabotage myself because you died. But if I twist that path, as you say, instead of going to what I know, what I've always done, to something new, out of your sacrifice and suffering, I shall make something good. This is a new program in your mind. It's a new program in your system. It's a new program in your body. And that vibrates a completely different frequency.
Of course. And it's interesting because, like, I'll use an example. When a phone updates, we sometimes get a little bit agitated because things have moved around, things have changed. It's a new color, it's a new interface. And then at the time, we get annoyed. But then over time, a few days later, we then get used to it. And then we forget about the old.
That's a beautiful example. That's absolutely right. At first, you don't know how to behave because something is new, but eventually you get used to it and you create a new pathway in your brain, a new behavior, a new way of experiencing life.
Of course.
Yeah, and that's
Fascinating.
it.
I'd love to talk to you about the roles that the mother and the father play in our lives, because there is a distinct difference.
Right.
And I think for me personally, the most powerful thing has come through Tizi. I don't know if you know this, but indirectly, I have done a lot of healing through my work with you, with my own father. And it's been like 33 years, 34 years of me not allowing him into my energetic space, because that's just what I've been familiar with. But you've been able to transform that And believe it or not, the moment that I have been able to heal this relationship with my father, I have had so many doors open to me that they were always there, but they were blocked, shut, closed, and the key was thrown away.
That's absolutely right. Well, first of all, it's not me that I've allowed you, but it's your courage. It's always, I'm a middleman, between an higher intelligence and then you, that you receive this healing. And I'm not surprised also you speak about the father, because I'm extremely close to my father, as you know. So yeah, so mother and father, they have distinctive role. When I say mother and father, I say archetypes, like my mother represents money, success, relationships, for example, emotional imbalance such as binge eating. Look at my mother. Okay, I miss my mother. I eat density because I miss the energetic love for my mother. Protection is my mother, particularly in the first ages, 1, 2, 3, 4 years old. Water retention is my mother. Well, we go in details now. And at the same time, my father, it's authority, it's direction, it's purpose. You see people that they distant from authority, they distant from their father, they have problem with authority. Fines, government, complaining, conspiracy theory, everything that goes against what is the norm. And then we go also in detail of that. Direction and purpose is your father. Your father sets you the direction, okay, give you your value. In which way? For men, the value that is taken from the father is the value within, okay? It's no longer the value of their mother looking at them with their eyes, and that's what the psychology called narcissism. This is a man that takes the value from the eyes of his mother. A man that integrates his father takes the value from within, okay? So this is another important dynamic. For a woman, it's a little different. From a woman, it is her father that look at her and gives her the value how she wants to be looked into the world. So the eyes of your father will tell you which are the eyes that your boyfriend is going to look at you. So if your father is an avoidant, which kind of boyfriend you're going to find? An avoidant, a person that looks at you sometimes and sometimes not, because that's the love of your father. Going back then to our beautiful mother. Our beautiful mother take Natasha, I think, the most difficult role. Okay, that's why I always say, as you are aware, the life of a woman is more difficult than the life of a man, particularly because the woman has the capability to give life, to carry life forward. And this has consequences for the woman. When we are born, when we go out of the womb, and when we reach our mother, that is our first success. Birth is the first success of your life. As you are aware through some of my events, you've seen, probably you've been also present. If someone had a troubled birth, they manifest that into their life experience. Perhaps they had cesarean, perhaps they went under the incubator, they went under the lamp, they've been detached from their mother at birth. That is how they pursue success in their life. Why? Because the first success is their energetic imprinting. So if to go to my mother, I had to go through the cesarean, to go towards success, I have to make such an effort. And also I need help of many other people to do so, because that's how I went towards my first success. The same concept goes towards money. Why our mother represents money? Because money are a representation of nurturing, of abundance. Who is the first person who nurture us? Our mother. Our mother is the first person who give us food, who nurture us. So when someone say to me, Tizi, I don't really care about money, what they really tell me unconsciously, if my mother is there, it's okay. If she's not, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is literally the same relationship in the archetype of their mother, the archetype of money. And sometimes the fact that they refuse their mother unconsciously, they even refuse money. They don't want them. Or if they come to them, they push them away. If the door, someone opened the door to them, no, I don't go there, because perhaps they have pride towards their mother and the same towards money. I don't need money. I'm proud towards my mother. I'm proud towards money. I give another concept about the mother that I feel it's relevant to women particularly. For women, their mother is their value. So when a woman is distant from her mother, generally speaking, she has a value issue in being a woman. And most of the time in the body, where do they experience that is where their femininity sits. So in their glutes and in their legs. So for example, a woman who retain a lot of water in their glutes and in their legs, stretch marks, it is a woman that is not close to their mother. Why is that? Because their mother is their nurturing. If their mother doesn't nurture them, their body intelligently retain food and water. Our mother is not there to nurture us, so we must retain that. Stretch marks, which is always quite an interesting experience in my event when we speak. This is generally a mother who say to her daughter, "You're not very pretty. You're not very fit. You don't dress very well." So their skin stretch. Okay, it's almost like a disapproval towards my value. And skin is an organ of relationship. So the relationship with their mother is in disagreement. Okay, my femininity is not great because my mother doesn't value me.
This is blowing my mind, because obviously our cells have this intelligence, and it would be so many, I guess, like observing the world, the way our world is today, there's so much more disharmony with families, and the structures are now completely changed to how they were 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Those are effect of, a family disorder is affecting a systemic disorder. So what you see in the world is a projection of what is within, or what is within. Sorry, my accent. So when there is order into the family, when there is order into the system, when primarily in the family, because it's the family the first order, the order reflect outside. But if there is disharmony into the family, then there is disharmony outside, and people experience specifically the disharmony which they are going through inside. There are countries that they are extremely authoritarian, and the majority of women there, they're in conflict with their father. So I always experience women that they conflictual with their father, they conflictual in the country that they experience. For example, such a horrible things to say these days, but patriarchy.
Yeah.
A lot of charge against patriarchy is an interrupted movement with the father. So if we want to change the external, we must look at the internal, and primarily to the family.
And I guess society has this idea and model flipped, because we're taught as to be consumers and to change the external. But when the more you get into this, it's all the internal that's where the profound shifts happen.
That's right. That's right. I used to see a video. I think it was from David Icke or someone that anyway, explain the nature of reality. I think it was on Gaia actually. Matter is 0.00001 or 6 or 701%. So if we pretend to change reality from something that is 0.000.1% of it, we make very little change. That's why I always say during my event, you cannot change your reality in what you call a psychological approach, a lot of talking, because you can change the servant, your mind, but you are experiencing your energetic imprinting. So you change your reality by changing your behavior, but really, really, really for a minimum amount of it. If you want to make a substantial change, you need to change your imprinting, your code of existence. So from there, you change your behavior. As you know, my background is through the 5 biological law of Dr. Hammer. The 5 biological law acknowledge us that the relationship between the illness and where it goes to the root is the psyche. So the psyche, conflict into the psyche, which is a separation generally, goes, not generally, all the time, goes into the brain, and the brain connects to the organ. So we cannot change directly into the organ if we don't look at the psyche. So before we look at the psyche, at the root, what's going on in the life of this individual? He has broken up with his girlfriend of 7 years. His mother died. Is experiencing a conflict at work. A younger one is taking his role. So then obviously from there, we can change what the body experiences. Psyche first, then obviously connect the brain, and then the brain connect to the organ. And this is how we unfold symptoms.
Of course. And how do you feel about like our, I guess, society being so reliant on like symptom treating instead of the root cause. I know this is an energetic modality and you're working with the morphogenetic field, but for me personally, it frustrates me because so many people are just so, okay, so you have ongoing headaches, or you know, you might have PCOS and ongoing menstrual issues, and it's so common for people to just medicate and mask.
That's right. I work in energetic field, in energetic environment, let's say, Natasha, but I'm also not against, let's say, allopathic medicine. But let me explain you why. In the last event that I've done just 2 weeks ago in Kurumbin, we had a bunch of doctors into the room, and they were almost them against the medical system rather than actually me supporting them. But let me explain why. Everybody of us, Natasha, we experience different level of density. I might vibrate at 105, but my neighbor might vibrate at 850. What is telling me? That I'm lighter in the scale and he's heavier. So he's experiencing the symptom and the healing from a more dense point of view. So I understand he might look at allopathic medicine. He might look at allopathic medicine, which they give to them peace of mind to look after their symptom, but also why? Because each and everybody of us, we are part of what we call a family conscience, a group conscience. So each family might have been medicalized for 10 generations. So who am I to go to my neighbor and tell him, hey, you have a symptom, come to me that I'm gonna heal you energetically, okay? Heal you like in brackets. This guy is gonna look at me and say, what are you talking about? Why is that? Because for him to come to me and believe in what I'm doing, he needs to go through a huge amount of guilt. He needs to betray his family conscience, his family of origin. So this guy might look at this experience in this way. I still go to the doctor and experience allopathic medicine. However, I am interested in what Tizi does. So I go also to Tizi to understand what he does, what I can take from it. This is more, Natasha, an experience that includes everybody. I feel to share with you this little experience with, I'm sure your listener will like it, and also you. So I went with this group in Kurumbin. We had a full room, beautiful experience. You know, now my events are always fully booked. There's always a lot of people. So I had these people that they were ex-medical doctor, and they were so much against the medical system out of what happened to during COVID, before and after, you know, and on and on. And they wanted to step into an holistic approach, but they couldn't. They came to me because they said, hey, I cannot find my path. You know what I said to them? Of course you cannot find your path, because you cannot detach from your old experience. Because from the moment that you judge it and you refuse what you have been, what you have done for humanity at that level of awareness, you cannot detach from it. You are attached to it, just as with your parents. If you refuse your mother, you become just like your mother and you are strictly attached to her. But if you accept your mother and what she has given you, even if that was just life, then you can step forward and do something new. You know, we had a beautiful constellation with these doctors, these people. And you know what I've done at the end? I make them sit in this little stage, this little theater, and I said to everybody in the room, a clap, a round of applause for this person who studied as a medical doctor and has served us for many years treating our symptom. And now she's open to do something new. Everybody cried out of it. They clapped to her, beautiful clap, and she had a beautiful farewell. Now she can step into the new, but not by displeasing the old. Doesn't work.
This is fascinating, and I guess I can relate to that as a parallel, because I was a teacher for so many years in the school system, and then I left that to become a homeschool teacher. And
Lovely.
And at the time, I was so against the system that I don't think I could have succeeded as a homeschool teacher because of my dissonance with the old programming.
I totally resonate with that. It's not a case that the system represents our father, authority, government, medical system, lawyers, police, everything that is authoritarian represents our father. you tell to me, because in my teenagers, my past, I've been in jail, I've been stabbed, I had horrible experience. Why? Because when in the sphere of influence of my mother, I was deeply against my father, because my mother has a profound interrupted moment with her father. So I was carrying her experience. But instead, when I moved to my father, who actually his father died very young, but he's deeply attached to him. He has a strong purpose in his life. And I got in resonance with it, and I'm cool with everything, even with the things that I don't agree with, but I disagree with my heart in peace. And that's completely a different experience. One thing is disagree with argumentatively, which is my heart is not in peace, and what I call, as you know, the rebel without a cause. And another thing is I disagree with my heart in peace. So if you want to do that, feel free for it. No problem for me. But I don't agree with it.
Fascinating, because I'm sure we've all got examples of people in our lives who disagree with topics, and I'm one of those people on certain topics, and it triggers. I just find now it's so easily to trigger others that you learn the hard way. Sometimes it's better not to say anything, just to keep that internal peace, if that's the word to use. Even though I'm one of those people, when I believe in something, I have to get it out there. I have to let people know, and it's an emotional response to life.
And I think it's fine, Natasha. Like one of the order of one, let's say, of the how to teach, how the order, I would say in therapy, you cannot take someone and embrace therapy with them if they don't agree to it. So there's need an agreement, like you want therapy, you come to me, so I give you my knowledge, but I cannot impose my knowledge to somebody else, because it does not work. This is one of the order of help of Bert Hellinger, the request. The first order of help of Bert Hellinger is the request. This needs a request, so I cannot impose my belief on someone else if they don't actually want it. So I can always say my, what I think, like, Natasha, I think that treating symptom from just like just the symptom itself without going to the root, I don't think it makes a big change in your life. But I can also agree to the fact that if I have an allergy and I want to stay better that day, perhaps I'm going to take a Zyrtec, so my symptom is going better, and then I look what allergy is, which systemically is always mother related. But this is just an example,
Yeah It's interesting. I want to bring your attention to, and I know I've spoken to you about this in the past, but I think this would be very fascinating for the listeners. So Nick and I were supposed to get married in 2021, but thanks to the amazing experience we had with the pandemic, we had to push the wedding forward to 2022. And when we were looking at dates, I literally, I think Nick left it up to me. I intuitively tuned in and I chose the 1st of May. And when we announced it, checked with all the vendors, all was well. And when we announced it to the family, my mum reminded me that my grandmother had died 31 years prior to that day. Like, she died on the 1st of May. So my mum's mum. And she didn't ask me to change the date, but I don't think my mum resonated with that date, but for me, I really saw it as an opportunity. Like, it's death and rebirth. It's an opportunity to honor my grandmother, if anything. And so we had our wedding, and it was the most magical day of our lives. And then 6 months later, Nick's papu passed away on Christmas Eve last year. And at the funeral, I noticed something that just shocked me. And Nick's papu was buried with the grandmother who had died 8 years earlier, or I think it was 10 years earlier. And the date of the grandmother's death, of his yaya, was on the 14th of October. And that is where Nick and I met.
Of course. Of course. This is a beautiful story, Natasha. Thank you for bringing it to awareness. Also, because for the listeners, it's important, because I'm going to share something about it. if you allow me, if that's okay.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course.
I acknowledge, Natasha, that our first relationship looked towards our parents. So I look towards my mother, I look for a representative of my mother, and you look for a representative of your father. But the successful relationship in life look towards our grandparents. So you look for a representative of your grandfather, and Nick look for a representative of his grandmother. And you embrace a lot, of course, of the experience of your grandmother. So there's some sort of loyalty within you. That is how you pursue, the 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 project of life with Nick, and we find what we call an adult love. So to make it quicker, like to make it understandable, we experience only two relationships in life. One with our parent of opposite sex, and one with our grandparent of opposite sex. And generally, men, I look for a representative of the mother of my father. So a woman would look at a representative of a father of her mother. And so there's a beautiful synchronicity that you just shared about you, Nick, and your grandparents. And I'm not surprised. I always speak about that. Parents first, teenage love. Those teenage love that then they don't endure because it's me and you against the world. Fuck the world. Instead is when we embrace me and you with the world. That is the adult experience. That's when we embrace an adult love. Sorry, I changed position because it's burning my legs.
Yeah, so much resonance. And I guess from your perspective, there would be so many, like you would have friendships and you would observe, like I know we spoke last time at your event about movies and the correlation, how it's evident, it's so obvious in the storyline of life and people's experiences. And I guess a part of you must be so analytical, you just can't help but make these observations and connections.
I'm first of all, I'm addicted to my job, but second of all, the mental approach is the father. So the masculine approach is the father. The mind is the spirit. The mind is the father. The spirit is the father. You see those women that they are extremely spiritual. They are extremely devoted to their father. Men that they are extremely spiritual, they are devoted to their father as well. The feminine approach is more through the body, through the emotion, the energy, emotion. So the woman is more devoted to the body. And again, I always, this story, I always mention the story of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ left his mother, left the body to go towards his father when he died. And then he reincarnated into his mother, into the body, and then he disappeared. And that's the path of the soul. Like starting from the mother, go to the father, okay, and then reincarnate into the mother, and you go into the body, and then you experience the body. The body eventually, Natasha, is the most spiritual experience of all. Why? Because it's the spirit experiencing itself through the matter. So it's the most spiritual experience of them all. Yes.
Completely blows my mind. I guess the more I learn about family constellations, the more I'm just connecting these dots and making these connections that I don't think could have been possible without having I guess perceiving the world through this particular lens. Because there are so many, I guess, I'm going to use the word healing modalities out there. And yes, they may get you a little bit more propelled forward or a little bit more closure on certain situations. But for me personally, and through, through learning from you, I bought Bert Hellinger's book, highly recommend it.
That's the Bible. It's a science of life. That book is the science of life. I always call it Family Constellation, the science of life.
Love's Hidden Symmetry, What Makes Love Work in Relationships by Bert Hellinger. And there's, I guess, I don't think you can compare family constellations to any other modality because of the powerful shift, results, and transformation that you experience.
I've never seen a more effective modality than family constellation. Neither, when people speak about plant medicines and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. They give you awareness and stuff. They allow you to experience the spirit. So they allow you to experience yourself to a spiritual level. However, they don't make directly a substantial change into the body. they could if they change a bit your perception, if they change a bit your reality and what you're going through. However, family constellation, it's just another level of healing. I feel it's, yeah, I've never experienced. I've seen allergies get away in 7 minutes. I'm not kidding with you, and you know that. Like, I've seen allergy literally flip away in 7 minutes. It's an interrupt with a reconnection with the mother. Allergies gone away. I've seen everything in the constellation. I think I've really seen the most crazy experience. Well, you've been part of the last one. You remember the last one was
Yes.
crazy about the hanging and the suicide. That was a very big experience. Yeah, it's just like I'm fascinated. I feel I really am an observer in that. I'm observing. I don't put my own belief, judgment, and whatever. I observe what is happening into the field, and then I bring it into theory.
Yeah.
That's what I do. That's I feel what's my call.
And it's one of the things that I really respect about you, because you're not operating from an egoic perspective. You really put the ego aside, and you are tapping into this. Your intuition is guiding you, but it's more than just your intuition. And one of the
I observe it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you're coming from a place of service. And I think after the first event I attended with you live, I had asked you, do you teach this? Because I want to learn more. I want to learn from you. And then you respectfully said, no, because this is not something that you can learn through, a modality. You have to have that special, I can't remember what word you used, but it's not something you learn, it's something you become.
It's a life call, Natasha, and I am in alignment with Bert Hellinger. With you, there are no constellation and there are no constellator. There are people of service that they have certain, I could call it gift, that they allow you to experience this in a certain way. But the gift that Tiziano has, it's a gift that Natasha doesn't, but Natasha has a gift that Tiziano doesn't have. So each and everybody of us, we have a purpose in life. The more we tend to this purpose, to this gift that we have. I want to carry we say one things. You want to make money? Easy. Notice which is your gift and place it in service to others. Acknowledge what is your gift and serve others with it. I always say this to all of my men, because so many people come with money issue, and I say, cool, you want to make money? No problem. Don't look at how much money you want to make. Look how many people you want to serve, because the more people you serve, and it's not going to be you chasing money, they're going to be money chasing you. This is where I am at this moment with humble experience. But I say, I don't chase money. I have people chasing me to heal them, to help them. And the more I help them and the more money chasing me, the money is an effect of it. It's not the cause. I'm not going for money. I mean, that everybody knows, because I would do constellation every day, all day, because I'm really fascinated about it. But money are an effect of this, are an effect of how I feel about that, how much in service I want to be, how much of a change I want to make. I don't want to change my neighborhood. I don't want to change my city. I want to change the world with it. I want to make a worldwide impact. I want the surname of my ancestor to stay over the world, or on this planet, for 1,000 generations. And that's what I said when I started this.
What a powerful force. Gosh, I can, you'd be crazy not to want to be a part of this.
I just, I just feel that. I really feel that. Yeah.
Now, I know you've been working behind the scenes on a special project to really fulfill your purpose.
Yes.
Tell us what's happening and how can people be a part of this?
So finally, I'm able to release in a few weeks my online systemic library. So it's gonna be a 2 hours live every month with me on different systemic topic, plus all the previous workshop recorded and watchable anytime you like, forever, of course. And also there's going to be a wall of interaction, so people can interact, ask questions, they can interact with one another, they can interact with me, ask questions, we can embrace, there's obviously, it's like a library of knowledge in systemic therapy. And I also decided to put it on a membership with really easy price, $89 a month, so everyone can access, because I have clients all over the world. And I think I want to create this community of systemic, systemic knowledge, systemic theory. You call it a constellator, you call it whatever you like, but people, they are interested in embracing life and through the science of life, through systemic therapy. And yeah, finally, after it has been a big jump because it cost me a lot of money to create this new website and stuff. But again, I believed in that. So believing in that, and it's gonna be available in a couple of weeks. www, my name, TizianoSguerso.com, and I'm fascinated and excited about it.
Good. That's amazing. I'll pop the the link in the description below. I know you have a few more events before the end of the year, one more in Bondi.
Yeah, in Bondi is the 17th, and I call it honoring belonging, acknowledge belonging. So if we acknowledge where we belong, we can detach from it and do something better or do something different. But if we don't, we remain attached to the hood. And then I have a constellation intensive in the city, which is like a worldwide group of constellator that they come. We're gonna, share knowledge, each and everybody of us. I have quite a good spot. I have 2-hour spot because they're quite limited, but they gave me a good one. So it's gonna be in CBD, and it's gonna be the 29th, 1st, and 2nd of December, like those dates anyway. And yeah, just excited about life.
You're a busy man, but living your purpose in alignment with your passion, and you're serving not just your community, but you're an international
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. To go through my booking now, it's at least 25 a month time as a wait, but I'm working worldwide.
Wow.
And I'm happy because that's what I wanted to. I don't want to serve only my neighborhood, which I do, of course, but I want to make a worldwide impact. And I'm sure there are many others that they are doing what I'm doing in a different ways. And so together we can really make a shift. We can really be of service.
Of course. Well, I, for one, have been so grateful to be a part of this family constellation. The experiences I've had with you both online and in person. And I'm so grateful for your time, Tiziano. You've been a wealth of knowledge, and you come from so much experience, and it's through your passion that I guess we're just gripped. I'm going to be honest with you and tell you, every time you post a story on Instagram, I'm screenshotting it and analyzing it and making observations and making connections. And then I go to my hairdresser, and then we talk about it, and we've identified connections with people in our lives, and it's a never-ending unfolding. It's the rabbit holes I've been down.
Good. I'm glad to serve you. I'm glad to serve as many people as possible. And thank you, Natasha, for first of all for your trust on me to come my events and to work with me. To you and Nick, because we don't see many men, so I'm honored to have Nick as well. And also thank you for allowing me to share my knowledge and fulfill my life purpose this morning talking to you.
Thank you. So grateful, Tiziano. Highly recommend a session with Tiziano, either one-on-one or in a group therapy setting. And I'm sure we'll be hearing much more from you, and we wish you all the best with your endeavors.
Thank you.
Wherever you're listening from, if you can give us a review and a 5-star rating, that would be so helpful in supporting this podcast. If this episode lights you up and inspires you, then please make sure that you share this podcast and make sure that you tag me on Instagram. I am beyond grateful and so blessed to call this work. It just means so much. Together, we will learn and grow. Staying anchored in your heart means staying anchored to your humanity. All my love, Natasha.